Welcome to the Rick Ramos Podcast, Chicago.
Like, you know, they're saying negative comments, trying to hype herself up. Once you start having to, you know, use words to hype you up of someone else, I think you're not there. Right. Like, you know, the rematch alone should have hyped you up. If you're talking about like what Jessica said, what I said,
should have hyped you up.
Right.
Like, I mean, gosh.
Right. So I am questioning her mental capacity, if you will. Okay, let's switch topic because talking about Cecilia is boring. But, you know, so here we are. Let's talk about, all right, so we talked about the, you know, making sure that you're findable on social media.
Yes.
Make sure your name's clean. If, you know, Jessica McCaskill, Rick Ramos, boxing, whatever, nice and clean. As far as promoting yourself, maybe get one of your friends, one of your cousins, one of your neighbors to take pictures of you and promote. And promote yourself. You know, I think, you know, a lot of people have pictures of their puppies and their dog and their boyfriend, and no one knows that they're a fighter.
Right. And take pictures in the gym. Take pictures in a suit. You know, make sure everybody sees all the angles of you, the professional side. You know, it's not just what you like. You know, it can't all be food pics. It honestly should be a little bit of an equation. Let me put a picture of my family. Let a picture of me working out. Let me put a picture of me dressed up. And then, like, you go through this cycle, you know, you start to learn what works. You start to learn what people are liking. You make sure that you find hashtags that people are using. You like other people's pictures. You draw in people, and you start to get followers. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and you know, I think a lot of people make fun out of Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia, a lot of people don't know the backstory, but he, you know, reached out to Oscar De La Hoya 500 times and was like, hey, if you sign me, I'll be the best fighter that you've ever seen. And, you know, he was saying crazy things like that, and he had a solid following, good-looking kid, he could fight. Fought a lot of the guys that were already in the pros. So he was appealing, especially to a Hispanic promoter. So, you know, a lot of people say that Ryan Garcia talked his way into a deal with Golden Boy Promotions, and then talked his way to get the Campbell fight, and then beat him. So, you know, shout out to Ryan Garcia, you know, for having the foresight to see all that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work.
The follow through.
Yeah, I mean, he just did a deal with Gatorade. He just, you know, he's trying to get the fight with Pacquiao. You know, I think that's going to be difficult, but, you know, at the very least, you know, now the Pacquiao fans know who Ryan Garcia is just for opening up his mouth. And, you know, so what else can a fighter do to get himself out there in the beginning of their careers, let's say?
Let's say you're findable. Let's say the world knows you're a 147-pounder or whatever. Let's say you get that phone call from a promoter. Hey, we got a guy that dropped out. I see you're in the gym. Are you on weight? Yes. Okay. We got XYZ person for you to fight. From there, of course, you talk to your management or your trainer. But when somebody offers you something, you better have a really, really extremely good reason to turn that down. I mean, people are getting their chance. They're getting the outreach from promoters and from other teams, and then they're the first person to say, like, oh, well, I didn't take it.
Right. And you know, like, I deal with fighters, and I offer those fighters, other fighters, opponents fights to fight some of my people, and it's like, I don't even get a response back sometimes, or it's like, hey, I'll let you know tomorrow, and then I never hear from them. Nothing. So then I don't want to ever deal with them again. So
they're out. At
the very least, communicate with the promoters, managers, whoever offers you matchmakers, whoever offers you a fight. Communicate with them. Say yes, say no. You know, I think we dealt with a girl. I won't mention her name, but she came in 22 pounds over. Like, she didn't, just like total disrespect. Didn't even try to make the weight. Yeah. It's a little insulting. It's a little embarrassing, and it's definitely frustrating because I had flew her out.
Right.
You know, flew her coach out, got them hotel rooms, and, you know, they just like burned me on $1,000 with no, you know, with no remorse, like, whatsoever.
And that's their side. I mean, you still had to pay to travel for yourself. You still had to pay for your own lodging. So the time and the money spent is not worth, you know, meeting someone in person and saying hello. Like, we could care less. We're here for business. And once you mess up that business, somebody else could be like, hey, didn't you set up a fight with so-and-so? Yeah, that person is not going to, you know, be good for business. Don't use them. That's how the conversation's going to go.
And once you screw over a matchmaker, a fighter, promoter, whoever, I think what happens is like that word gets around quick.
Definitely.
And you know, a lot of matchmakers know a lot of fighters, and if you screw someone over, you know, that word travels faster than you think, and that could definitely burn you on bigger fights down the road. So remember that, you know, don't be burning bridges. Lastly, too, I wanted to talk about like the contracts, right? Like a lot of female fighters in the game, or not just female, but fighters in general. Like, I think they always complain about the pay, right? In this pandemic time, I feel like you got to be ready. These are like the times where you get the phone calls, right? Like, there's a ton of people. Like, the A-side fighters aren't even always ready. And we saw it August 17th in Tulsa when Jessica fought Cecilia. White Chocolate had a rough night. A lot of the A-side had a rough night. So you could catch the A-side sleeping. You know, so the B-side, if you're a B-side fighter and you know who you are, and you know if you are or not, stay ready, stay in the gym, and you might get that call. And you pay attention to the fights, jump on BoxRec, figure out what the